Welcome to Let's Play Gran Turismo 2, episode 57. Alrighty then. So, we are back in simulation mode. And officially, we have very much started this one with a bang. Because, well, I won the Seattle 100 miles, almost said 500, with my Shelby Cobra. And as you can also see down there, well, you may notice I'm officially 50 grand richer than I was previously. And well, the main reason for that is officially because, well, I tested out the car I'm going to use next on hard tyres, racing hard tyres of course, and effectively overall, I figured, yeah, why not? Let's be a little experimental about this, and see how we do. And so, this is the car I'm going to use. My Honda Castrol Mugen NSX. For the next event, which is the Special Stage Route 5 All Night. So, but before we do that of course, the reason why I have 50 additional grand from what I had in the previous segment is essentially because, well, I did the third race of the GT All-Stars again, and I have of course won this TBR Speed 12, which of course I'm now going to sell because I already have one of these things, and officially overall I won that race by 2 seconds on racing hard tyres, and so I eventually thought to myself, yeah, let's go for it, let's see what happens. So, we are going to head back of course to the Go Race section and head down to the endurance events to starting our 4th endurance event in the game, which is the Special Stage Route 5 All Night 50 Laps Endurance. 350 grand if we can win, and also, as you can see up there, 50 laps of Route 5 on racing hard tyres. Let's go! So what is also, I believe, our first and only endurance race at night. So, in the settings, I tested this car out in the third race of the GT All-Stars, like I said, and of course, tested it on racing hard tyres, and well, essentially overall, I have proven of course that this could work, because I won that race by 2 seconds, and yeah. Let's see how we go for 50 laps of Special Stage Route 5. Regarding, of course, that essentially it is a JGTC car against prototypes. But we'll just wait and see how we do. And if all goes well, then yeah. Let's see how we go, as we have a Toyota GT1 in this field, along with a Calibra, a Nissan R390, or both of them I should say, with a Vauxhall Calibra, and I did say Vauxhall Calibra because, well, this is the English version, because, well, this is the English PAL version, and already I'm up into second behind the Nissan R390. I have overtaken the Nissan R390. And now, hopefully from here, I can officially start to extend my interval. As I am now leading this race for the first time. And essentially overall, in terms of overall horsepower, I don't think this thing will really matter that much, considering this is around about the same horsepower range as the prototypes of both the Toyota GT1 and the Nissan R390 respectively, so I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem, in my honest opinion. As I am already starting lap 2. For an event that I assume will probably take me over an hour, but again, it just depends on knowing, of course, how far over an hour it shall be. Also because, well, Another reason why I chose this car is also because I really like the main colour which is on this car, and that of course is obviously black, as you can see here, and well, I decided, yeah, why not? It might actually give me a more suitable image for when I am racing under the lights, and oddly enough, of course, that is precisely what I'm doing now, essentially. And already extending my interval. And also just sipping my tea, because notably overall, this is officially the last day of 2020. Woohoo! Or at least, by the time I have recorded this, it will be New Year's Eve in 2020. But what has easily been probably the worst year of the 21st century for many of us. Essentially overall, I seriously cannot wait for the start of 21. Even though it probably already will be 2021 by the time I have launched this video, so you know, for me at least, or at least by the time of when this video is released, 2021 is just around the corner, essentially. And wow, I have already got an astonishing lead over my nearest challenges, which I'm assuming are the prototypes. And well, as for whoever is at the back, I'm going to assume that's probably the Calibra. Considering there are two Calibras in this field, along with the older model of the Nissan R390, as well as also the newer model of the Nissan R390, along with the Toyota GT1. And already at the moment, this is going a lot better than I anticipated it would. Because I'm literally just pulling away from the rest of the field right now. So this is definitely going better than I anticipated it would go. As I'm basically just trying to, excuse me, drink my tea whilst I'm on the streets, and also essentially chat about many other things as I go along. But anyways, at the completion of lap 4, I can officially say that, oh bollocks. I had a feeling that was going to happen eventually. A feeling where I knew the back end was going to step out, and then suddenly, as soon as it did, I just saw myself spinning straight into the outside wall of the first tunnel. But anyways, heading past the clock tower once again for the 5th time. Where I'm probably anticipating this will take me somewhere over an hour. This event will. But as for the AI, I really don't know how long it will take them. But anyways. So, lap 5 is now complete, and of course we are now officially a 10th of the distance complete. As I am now heading through the tunnel for the 6th time, here at Special Stage Route 5 and heading through this very rounded hairpin, I should probably say, is what I think it is. And heading through the S's now. At least I think these are S turns. And that's a wall. And I'm just gradually extending the interval at the moment. In my Honda Castrol Mugen NSX from 98, I am very much increasing the distance to these AI. Also, furthermore, the field itself is really getting spread out now. So, the main reason why I did the test as well, mainly because I figured if I knew I was going to head into this race with confidence, then obviously that's what I figured I might as well do. So I did that. I won 50 grand, and as you could see, of course, from my prize, I sold the Speed 12, obviously, got an additional 500 grand, which is obviously good at least for my financing, because I have a feeling that when I get around to the one-make events, those particular events will really be eating up my dough, essentially. And just short shifting at the moment, don't mind me. Just trying not to spin the car around, even though I've already done that once. As we now head down the straightaway for the 7th time. And also just finishing off my tea. And to any of you asking what day it is, that I am alternately recording this, well, I'm recording this on New Year's Eve, essentially, because, well, I figured of course that essentially, since I know 2021 is just around the corner, I figured I might as well just get this race over with, and then hopefully from here I can maybe give myself a potential boost for 21. So, you know, obviously if I get this over with now, then essentially overall I only have 3 endurance events remaining, and then for the rest of this game I can basically do the one makes, essentially. Even though there is one more thing that I will have to do besides that. So, at the moment, of course, I'm gradually extending the interval to my nearest opponent, who I'm suspecting is either the 98 Nissan R390 or probably the Toyota GT1. I couldn't tell you which one, though, until I overlap them, but at the moment, of course, I'm just gradually extending the interval in my Honda Castrol Mugen NSX. And I think I was a little early there with the downshift, but at the very least I was able to prevent the thing from spinning, which I can probably guarantee in probably a couple of laps time, when I know my tyres have got more wear, obviously that is going to be a bit more of a problem, but at the very least, my tyres are not at the point of where they need to be changed yet, as I of course am now already on my 10th lap, as I am almost a fifth of the distance complete. And where I anticipate it will probably take me more than an hour to get through this race essentially. Probably around about an hour and 5 minutes essentially, but we'll just have to wait and see how long it will be. And oh shit! Yep, okay, there was no way I was saving that. Even though obviously I wasn't even pushing, so it could just be me, or it could just be an indication of saying my rear tyres are getting a little bit worn, but I don't think it's anything to be concerned about at the present time, because I'm doing very well in terms of my tyre management at the moment. Because these tyres have not gone down in terms of overall lifespan as quickly as I thought they were going to, because I've already managed to complete 10 laps on this set of rubber, and I am hoping to extend it further. As of which, it's also around about that time where I anticipate these AI are probably going to be stopping on pattern with me, but I can see my rear tyres are starting to go down in terms of grippiness, but my front tyres at the moment are still good, so I think at the moment I can probably do maybe 4, possibly 5 laps if I'm fortunate and I'm not pushing too hard on this set of boots, but at the very least I am managing to compose myself rather nicely at the moment, as I've already been doing this for a quarter of an hour and already I'm nearly 12 laps clear. But yeah, I would say this event overall will probably take me somewhere between an hour and probably an hour and a half essentially. But again, it's just my prediction of what I think the final completion time is going to be. Pretty much anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes essentially. But as for the total number of minutes, I really couldn't tell you. Also, I have noticed this car really does like chomping up the rear tyres, as I've noticed here. But obviously, I think if my calculations are correct, and I'm hoping they are, then I should be able to probably go more than 15 laps on this set of boots, and then obviously I can basically charge hard for the final 5 laps of this race. Because I am anticipating this race will probably be another 2-stop. Oh, correction, another 3-stop, essentially. considering that is precisely what I think it was at Seattle. Because I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it was a 2-stop. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Don't mind me. It's just me trying to do maths. It's pretty much just me trying to do maths whilst I am still extending my interval to the R390 and at the moment, of course, everything is going more or less the way I want it to go. Because I was not expecting myself to be leading by this much at the end of 13 laps. I would have honestly thought for sure his AI would have been pushing me hard, but surprisingly, on this occasion, they have not. But yeah, this is officially our only nighttime endurance event in the game. Plus, furthermore of course, I certainly prefer this circuit over the GT1 layout of Special Stage Route 11. I mean, that course is okay, but obviously I think it's essentially just the 2 bus stop chicanes where you literally know very well that if you go straight through the corner, you're just literally going to go straight into the wall of death, essentially. And I am on 15 laps now. And oddly enough, of course, I'm actually glad they didn't bring Route 11 back into this game. I mean, the course itself is okay, but obviously it's just that one section of the course where you know very well that essentially if you get either side of the bus stop chicanes wrong on the GT1 layout, then you're basically straight into the wall, pretty much all questions answered. Okay, well, I think I can go probably one more lap on this set of boots, and if I spin it around, then obviously, yeah, I'm gonna need to pit. But I am gonna try, goddammit, because I want to see if I can take these tyres up to a certain distance. Regardless of knowing this race will probably end up being a 3-stop, unless I can go beyond 17 laps, essentially, which is basically what I'm going to try to do, as long as I don't spin, even though my rear tyres are close to being dead. Oh. I think I'll do this lap and then one more lap and then I'll pit in. Because then, at the very least, I probably should have enough mileage on the tyres to officially go the distance. Because surprisingly, in spite of how much wear these tyres have taken on, and it also looks like the back markers are pitting, and I'm going to assume one of them is probably the Nissan R390, because 2 of these AI are respectively Vauxhall Calibras and... oh crap. Okay. Yep, okay, I think my rear tyres are dead. Yep, okay, my rear tyres are dead. I think now is the time for me to pit. Because I'm literally sliding just to keep this car out of the walls. Yeah, I think now is the right time for me to come into the pits, because if I don't, then, well, I'm easily going to lose the lead in pretty much the next 2 laps, and obviously I'm not prepared to do that, but anyway. So, I managed to go 17 laps on these tyres, and well, now it's time for me to maybe see if I can change this set of boots, because I have a feeling that's what I'll need to do as I'm short shifting. I'm heading into the pits, which, oddly enough, of course, is also quite a long pit lane in my honest opinion, but I have managed to prevent the car from spinning, which is important. And it looks like someone else is going into the pits as well. Oh, correction. I think that was just the Calibra. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. I'm still ahead of the Nissan R390 even after my first pit stop, because I'm assuming he must have pitted in earlier than I did, and I'm actually surprised on how far I was able to go on my hard tyres, because I went 17 laps on that set of boots, which, oddly enough of course, is long enough to astonish even me. But anyways, so heading through the hairpin now, everything going more or less on schedule as I want it to be. As this is now my first outlap here at Route 5. As I re-emerge to setting my outlap, which oddly enough of course actually wasn't too bad for my overall standards, because I would have thought for sure I was going to be slower than that, but coincidentally enough I was not. As right now I'm currently behind what I think is the leading Calibra. Because I have a feeling one of them is in front of the original Nissan R390, and I have a feeling the second one is probably behind him. But anyways, so 18 laps are now complete, and this is officially my 19th lap, as I have re-overlapped the back markers, and I think I can see both the GT1 and the R390 in the pits there. At least I think it was them. But I don't think it really makes much of a difference, because, well, I will overlap them sooner or later. As already I set my first lap on my fresh set of boots, which is a 1:16.4. So now I can officially start pushing flat out, essentially. Now I can basically run this lap like hell and see how quick I am on this set of boots. As I narrowly avoid touching the wall. Already, I am nearly a lap ahead of the entire field. And it looks like I'll probably overlap the prototypes fairly soon, as I set a new PB, a new personal best lap time of a 1:15.7 as a result of being on new tyres. So I'm officially half a second quicker than my previous PB because I'm on a fresh set of boots. And obviously just a little bit of a short shift there because I had a feeling I was probably going to be spinning there if I didn't short shift, and so I think that was a lucky escape for me personally. But whoever is the third place car, I'm now coming up to overlap them for the first time in this event, as my new best lap time is now a 1:15.0. And I think that is the R390 I just overlapped there, so I'm assuming it's probably, in my mind it's probably the second, the leading R390, which is currently in the lead, as far as I know. Considering most of these obviously are Nissan. Posts, essentially. Which, oddly enough, of course, is being bested by Honda, as I've pretty much overlapped nearly the entire field here at Route 5, and it's taken me only 22 laps to overlap almost the entire field. And it looks like the best of my tyres have now gone. So my new personal best lap time is a 1:15.0. As it was set on lap 21. And it looks like I'm closing in on the second placed car, whoever that may be, but if I know it's the older R390 that is in third position, then I'm suspecting it's the newer one in second. And oh, fuck me. And oh, okay. Well, cheers for the push. And that has officially kept me a lap ahead of the older R390 by default of him giving me a push start, and I'm now officially going again and looking like I'm very much on course to eventually overlapping the second placed car. Whichever that may be. But at the present time, I'm just closing in. And if it's possible, I can probably still overlap the second place car as long as I do not spin again. Probably before the completion of lap 30. Unless I push my tyres too hard, and I'm hoping I don't. And wow, I actually got a really good exit off of there, but that was only because, well, I downshifted, essentially. still, I'm not gonna lie, that was a really good exit off that corner. But still not enough to set a new PB, as I'm off by about a second, and... oh shit, that's a wall. That was not intentional. And there of course is the second place car, and just as I thought, it is the newer variation of the Nissan R390 that is in the second position, as I'm now coming up to overlapping for the first time in this event. After only fucking 24 laps. And of course, if everything goes my way, then I could potentially overlap everyone twice. Meanwhile, it must be said, the R390 has definitely got some speed. He is actually pushing me. And leaving the gap very much wide open through there, but fortunately, for me at least, I have managed to survive, and now it is time for me to focus on the rest of this race. So, completing lap number 26 now here at Route 5, as I'm now already halfway home in this event, basically. Wink wink. So, 26 laps down and still 24 to go. As it has taken me over half an hour to complete 25 laps, basically. And officially, it now looks like I am very much en route to officially winning this race by probably over 1 lap ahead of the rest of the field, at least ahead of the second placed car. If I know my tyre wear in the final stint is really gonna start to fucking shut itself off, as which I'm now up, of course, to the completion of lap 27, as 23 laps still remain in this motor race. And I pretty much do the perfect start to the lap, and that is by hitting the inside wall. Because I'm stupid. So, heading up now to the hairpin for the 28th time here, of course, at Route 5. And my rear tyres showing a little bit of wear at the moment, but again, I'm basically just going to do the same thing that I did previously, and that's essentially just try to fucking manage the tyres for probably another 6 laps, and then I'll just pit in again, essentially. And hopefully if it's possible, of course, I should be able to take my 3rd set of boots all the way up to the finish, because if I can go long enough on this set of boots, I should be able to make it a 2-stop race essentially, which is basically what my target is. And of course, if I can do that, then well, it has officially secured me for a 2-stop race, or just about a 2-stop race. So I'm predicting I will easily win this race by a lap ahead of the rest of the field by the time I've finished. But as for 2 laps, I really don't know. I mean, at this point, I would say I'm definitely going to overlap the entire field once. But as for twice, I think that's probably out of the picture, essentially. But I cannot stop myself from trying. Although the truth is with me, I'm absolutely fine with winning by over a lap. There really is nothing wrong with that, in my honest opinion. I really don't think there's anything wrong with that, if I'm being completely honest. So, heading through lap 30, and I'm basically going to do more or less the same thing I did on the previous stint, which is basically tough out these tyres for as long as I can, for probably the next 4 laps, and then as soon as I've done that, then obviously that is when I shall pit again. As I've now suddenly told myself to start short shifting on the worn rubber for some reason, as I'm now 30 laps down in this race. Oh, correction. 30 laps I have now completed in this race, and officially, if I can do everything the way I should do it, then my next pit stop should be coming at around about lap 34. If I know I'm going to do the same amount of laps that I did on my previous set of boots, which I did manage to pull off, and I should just about be able to make this race a 2-stop, which is essentially what my plan is. And essentially overall that is basically what I'm going to attempt. As I now overlap the first of the 2 Calibras in this event now for the second time here at Route 5, as I am now on lap 32. And that is a wall. But fortunately for me at least, I do not turn myself around, as my rear tyres are once again showing some potential signs of wear at the moment, but I don't think it's anything to be concerned about for the moment, because I am trying to see if I can make this race a 2-stop, and of course if I can do that, then obviously I will effectively be able to get to the end of the race on a 3rd stint. considering this is only my second stint. So, showing a little bit of wear on the rear tyres, but I don't think it's anything to be concerned about at the present time. As I'm just scratching my head and just stretching my arm. Knowing of course that I will easily overlap the entire field once. And it looks like both of the Calibras, I think, are in the pits, unless it's just one of the Calibras, because I've certainly overlapped one of them. And as you can see there, my rear tyres are getting a little bit worn on the rears. I can see there. But obviously, if I can go as long as 17 laps on my previous set, then I can surely take these tyres up to probably around about lap 34, I think, or just up to the end of it. And then I will have survived, or pretty much toughed it out long enough to get to the end of this race. Which is essentially what I am attempting, of course. And it could very well work again. Especially considering under normal circumstances. If I had a real pit crew, they would have told me to pit in already, but obviously I'm not going to do that until I have completed this lap. Regardless of how much wear there is on my rear tyres. So, completing lap 34 here at of course at Route 5, and now is officially the time for me to pit. If I can find my pit box, of course. So there is the entry, and entering the pits now. After going 17 laps on this set of boots, and also my front tyres aren't really too far apart from showing some wear either, but it's essentially the rear tyres which are taking most of the damage, and I have managed to survive long enough to probably go just about the distance. We're at Route 5, and honestly hoping of course that on the outlap I do not spin the car on cold tyres. Even though obviously I have noticed my rear tyres can warm up very quickly. Obviously, you know, because this car is, well, you know, fucking rear wheel drive. And at the very least, everything is going more or less the way I predicted it would, as of which I should just about have the mileage to go the distance. Here of course at Route 5, as I'm now once again closing in on the Calibra to presumably overlap him for the second time once again, now that I've made my second and hopefully final stop of the race. And I do empathise the word hopefully. Because I do not have any certainties of knowing what may happen in the next 15 laps, but if I am fortunate, I should have just about done enough to go the distance. And that's essentially what I am hoping I have done. And so now we only have about another 14 laps to go in this race. And so I don't think I'm going to set a new PB on this lap, but I will give it a shot if I know there is any shot for me at all of me trying to prove this, and if there is, then obviously, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. But anyways. So, heading up towards the completion of lap 37, as we now only have 13 laps remaining in this race. And coming across the line now, and it is a 1:15.5, as I am now overlapping presumably the second of the two Calibras, because I have a feeling that is the GT1 all the way up there. And I have presumably overlapped both of the Vauxhalls once in this event, considering essentially they are Vauxhalls in the PAL version of the game, or at least the PAL UK version of the game, because obviously, yeah, you know, I'm a steadfast Brit, as you can probably tell. But thankfully not from the south. I'm from the north. I'm from northern England. We are the northerners. And by the end of this race, I would imagine my rear tyres are going to be buggered. Yeah. Alright, I'll stop. Because impressions, it is something I actually like doing to myself occasionally. Well, sometimes I do them very poorly, but yeah, impressions, it's what I do. As I'm just slowly waltzing away from the rest of the field right now, and trying to see if I can close in on the GT1, who I am presuming is probably in 4th at the moment. And also, furthermore, another reason why I chose this car as well, because, well, obviously I dare to be different from what choices there are for me to choose, and there is my spin. And surprisingly, that's only the second time I have spun in the tunnel, because I would have honestly thought for sure I would have done it more than just twice at this point, but surprisingly I've only spun through the tunnel turn only twice in this event so far, and it's only taken me 39 laps to do it a second time. Oh well, for me at least. Everything is more or less going the way I want it to. At the present time, as I am a lap ahead of the rest of the field. But obviously, because, well, overlapping doesn't officially count towards the full race distance, essentially overall, like I have done with all the other endurance events, I have to wait and see how many minutes I won the event by in the end, because I'm suspecting that's probably what it will be. But anyways. So, lap 41 here at Special Stage Route 5 now. And already I am very much on course to probably finishing this in just over an hour, I anticipate, or somewhere over an hour, as I now have only 9 laps to go after this one. And I don't think I'm going to set a new PB, so I think from here I should probably just start to be conservative, unless I know I've already overlapped the GT1 once in this event. But there of course is the R390, who I shall presumably overlap for probably the second time in this event, as I'm now completing lap 41, and heading on of course to my 42nd lap. And that is already the second time I've overlapped that R390. Unless that R390 is currently in 4th, and it's the GT1 that is currently in 3rd. Well, I won't know the overall results until I have officially overlapped the entire field. And then obviously when I have, then basically that's when the race itself will be finished, essentially. Because it now looks like my tyres are officially past their best, basically. Although, it would be nice if I could overlap the entire field at least, probably twice in this event, but again I'll probably have to wait longer for these AI to finish. So you know, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But, at the moment at least, everything is more or less going the way I want it to at the present time. As we are now heading up, of course, to the completion of lap 43, and still 7 laps remaining in this event for me, and then I shall be finished. So, Heading down the street now for the 43rd time, and officially with still only 7 laps to go now in this event. 7 laps remaining in the special stage Route 5 all night 50 laps endurance. As indeed, that is the R390. I am now coming up to overlap for probably the second and final time in this event. As I was not predicting I was going to overlap the entire field more than once in this event. But surprisingly, I have overlapped the entire field. Even though obviously I haven't seen where the GT1 is. But again, like I say, I won't know the official results until my race at least is complete. And then I can just wait for the rest of the finishing order to cap off the laps they need to make up. As of which I am fairly confident I will probably win this event quite easily, in my honest opinion, but at the very least, all I can really do from that point onwards is basically just give myself enough time to wait for the rest of the field to finish, and then when they do, obviously, I will know the final classification of where the AI finished. Of where these AI finished, at least. And now it looks like this car is once again wanting to presumably execute me, but for the moment, I'm just allowing it. Because I'm going to assume I've overlapped the entire field at least, probably, twice in this event. But again, it just depends on knowing where the Toyota GT1 is, because surprisingly, I've actually not seen him in physical form all race long. Surprise, surprise. Unless I know it is because he has been pitting. Or at least I have not seen him since the completion of the first lap, or at least at the drop of the green flag, I should say. And so there we go. We are now officially over an hour complete in this event, and we still have 4 laps to go. 4 laps remain in the special stage Route 5 all-night endurance, or the special stage Route 5 endurance, I should probably say. But anyways, as my throat is starting to dry up again after nearly the completion of 47 laps. As all I really need to do now is conserve the tyres at this point. Just pretty much see myself in 100% conservative mode, and then I've done everything I need to do. As of which, surprisingly, the racing hard tyres have pretty much assisted me in absolutely blitzing the competition. And I should probably get some water after this. At least it is whilst I now am waiting for the rest of these AI to finish. But yeah, I probably will get some water by the time I've completed this. Because... two reasons. One is because, well, I'm yawning, and the other reason is because my throat is dehydrating rather quickly. Or at least, I think it's dehydrating rather quickly. But obviously, the reason I'm not stopping is because commentary. It's what I do. Well, I do it very and immoderately poorly, but well, I do it moderately poorly, but yeah, you know, it's what I do. As I am now on the penultimate lap of the special stage Route 5 Endurance, and it has taken me just over an hour to get this far in the race on the racing hard tyres, considering obviously I do still need to run one more lap in order to know that I have gone the full distance. And I think as far as I know it was lap 21 I set my fastest lap. I mean, I know by now of course it may seem a long time ago, but essentially I think it was probably lap 21 where I set my best lap time, as of which I am already very much on the brink, excuse me, as of which at the moment I am very much on the brink of achieving success, as I am now on the straight to starting my 50th and final lap here at Route 5. As it has only taken me just over an hour to officially get this far. And by the end of it, I'm estimating my finishing lap time will probably be somewhere over 1 hour and 6 minutes in terms of my overall completion delta. And surprisingly, my two-stop strategy has managed to tough itself out long enough for me to officially go the distance here at Route 5 and very much prove myself as being a worthy contender for the victory, regardless of what machines I tend to drive. But anyways, so heading through the final corner with my very worn rear tyres, and on the start finish line now to officially win the special stage Route 5 Endurance in dead on 1 hour, 6 minutes and 15 seconds. And Oh, okay, my correction. The GT1 was actually in second throughout that race. Then it was the older R390 ahead of the newer R390, and at the back we had the two Vauxhall Calibras. And so now of course we have to wait for the entire field to finish, as I predicted correctly that I was only going to overlap the entire field at least once, but now we wait for the rest of these AI to finish. Yay! Everyone has finally finished, and it's only taken them less than 5 minutes to go the full distance compared to what I did it in. So, in the end, I have won by just under 2 minutes ahead of the Toyota GT1, who I predicted was the second place car originally. Then, in third place, it was the 97 model of the Nissan R390 GT1 in third, followed by the newer variant of the R390 in fourth, both of them over 3 minutes behind, and then the other two over 4.5 minutes behind, and also BTW, my rear tyres are dead. We had the two Vauxhall Calibras officially finishing in just under 5 minutes, as one of them was 4 minutes and 33 seconds behind, whilst the other one was 4 minutes and 55 seconds behind. And it definitely took shorter than I was expecting everyone to finish, but yeah, there we go. The special stage Route 5 endurance is now complete. Yeah, don't mind me, I'm just trying to get myself a thumbnail. Maybe seeing if I can probably get myself a reasonable shot of my Mugen NSX. So just getting myself a thumbnail shot because, you know, that's what I do. And obviously, that is officially what I am doing. Here, of course, at Special Stage Route 5. Here's getting myself a thumbnail shot. Considering it only really takes one lap to give myself a reasonable shot of my Honda Castrol Mugen NSX. And yeah, I think that should do it. Even though it still sucks that, well, because of how much of a mess development was for this game, it still sucks on how I can only see my final 10 laps, and well, ultimately overall, my quickest lap out of all of those was on lap 41 with a 1:15.8. But I think, as far as I can remember, it was lap 21 I set my quickest lap, which is a 1:15.0.66, which is officially up there. As it's taken me only 1 hour, 6 minutes and 15 seconds to complete that race, and a rather nice 350 grand for winning. And of course, as ever, since this is an endurance event, I'm obviously going to save the game. Because that's what I do. Well, I do it quite immoderately, but yeah, it's what I do. For progress. And already got myself a reasonable shot of my NSX. And so that is now done. The special stage Route 5 endurance is now complete, for what is also our only endurance race under the lights in this game. So, 4 events down, 3 to go, as next up is the Grand Valley 300 kilometers endurance. So, 4 events down and still 2 to go. As we are now going to get a look at our prize car and, oh, okay. And the car we win is another rally car. It is a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 rally car. Well, I know many of you are probably expecting me to win race cars or something, but the truth is, I actually don't mind winning rally cars. So yeah, this is nice. Especially considering this was the same model that gave Tommy Mäkinen his 4th WRC championship, but anyways. So yeah, there's that. And officially we are now 55.7% complete with this game, as my win ratio is gradually starting to move up again. And I now have 92 cars in my garage, which also means sooner or later I'm gonna have to start selling some. But anyways, so there we go. That, my friends, was the special stage Route 5 endurance. Next up is the Grand Valley 300km endurance. And as for what car I'm going to use, well, I haven't decided yet, but I will do by the time we get to the next segment. And so with that, stay tuned for more GT2.